Ning Qiushui also noticed. He reached out and grabbed it. In the darkness, Ning Qiushui groped her way to a book. He picked it up. The dust on it still bore the fingerprints of despair. Turn it over. By the dim moonlight streaming through the window, the two saw the contents of the book. June 1st, 2037. Cloudy. Grandpa called and said Grandma was dying, and asked Mum to come home. But for some reason, my mother, who has always cared about my grandmother, refused very firmly. June 9th, 2037. Cloudy Mum didn't go to work. She looked terrified. What is Mum afraid of? June 12th, 2037. Cloudy these past few days. I've seen my mum secretly cry. When I asked her why she was crying, she didn't say anything. She just hugged me. She hugged me very tightly, and I felt a little breathless. June 21st, 2037. Light rain grandma passed away. Grandpa called Mum, and after Mum hung up, she looked very pale. She suddenly went out and didn't return until late at night. She handed me a piece of blood-red jade and told me to hang it by the window and never take it down, no matter what happened. June 22nd, 2037. Heavy rain. Mum packed her bags and left home with Dad, leaving me and Grandma Wong, the housekeeper who had taken care of the house for many years before they left. They told me and Grandma Wong that if we saw them coming home, we must not open the door. July 12th, 2037. Heavy rain. Mum's back. I remembered what my mum and Dad told me, but I opened the door anyway. I really miss them so much. August 1st, 2037. Heavy rain. Wrong. It is not Mum. August 15th, 2037. Heavy rain. I wasn't a good child. I didn't listen to Mum and Dad and let that scary thing in. It's right outside now. I was thirsty and hungry, but I was too afraid to go out. Will I die? What do I do? The diary entries end here. The above content is shocking. The two looked at the contents of the diary and remained speechless for a long time. So, that old woman on the second floor wasn't the villa's owner's mother, but the villa's nanny. Liu Chengfeng's throat moved. That monster. Ning Qiushui closed her notebook and said to Liu Chengfeng behind her, "The shoe cabinet at the entrance of the villa is neatly filled with newly bought women's shoes." I was thinking, if a woman who loves shoes so much is really going to go on a trip, shouldn't she bring at least a few pairs with her? Liu Chengfeng was stunned. They had all passed by that shoe cabinet several times, but no one had noticed it. Ning Qiushui's observation skills are terrifying, aren't they? Besides, don't you want to know what those 3 words that the old lady on the second floor keeps repeating are? Upon hearing this, Liu Chengfeng snapped out of his daze and looked at Ning Qiushui. Yes, what is it? Under the pale moonlight, Ning Qiushui and Liu Chengfeng locked eyes, and she uttered the truth, word by word. That sent chills down Liu Chengfeng's spine. The old lady on the second floor wasn't saying the meat wasn't cooked at all. She was trying to tell us that the person hadn't left. Liu Chengfeng's breathing was rapid, his eyes wide open. "Young man, you mean the woman in the red dress we saw on the first day didn't leave?" Ning Qiushui nodded slowly. "Right, it never left at all. It must have found a secluded spot nearby and eaten the little girl." Clatter. Liu Chengfeng's legs went weak. He lost his balance and almost fell. Holy crap, he was numb. My whole body feels numb. Ning Qiushui stood by the window, reached out and touched the blood jade hanging on the window. Whatever it is, or what it's made of, it doesn't matter anymore. The important thing is, this blood jade can block that terrifying woman in the villa, whose true nature is unknown. Suddenly, he thought of something and said to Liu Chengfeng, "Big Beard, hurry, we'll split into 2 groups. You go down to the kitchen on the 1st floor to get ingredients, prioritizing ready-made meals that will stave off hunger." Liu Chengfeng was stunned for a moment. "And what about you, buddy?" Ning Qiushui replied. "I'll go upstairs and carry the old lady up." Liu Chengfeng immediately understood what Ning Qiushui wanted to do. "Aren't we going to run into that ghost thing?" Ning Qiushui's gaze was sharp, and her tone was firm and resolute. "We have to give it our all. There aren't many of us left, and we can only get to the 3rd floor when it's hunting at night. After tonight, it won't be so easy to bring the old lady and food back here." Upon hearing this, Liu Chengfeng gritted his teeth. Good. Once the arrow is released, there's no turning back. By now, he had complete trust in Ning Qiushui. If it weren't for him, he would likely have died on the 1st night. Right now, we have to go all out. The 2 carefully retreated outside the room. After confirming that the ghostly thing had not returned, they immediately went downstairs. Liu Chengfeng went straight to the kitchen on the 1st floor, and without turning on the lights, he picked up a bag from the kitchen and began packing food. Although it was pitch black, Liu Chengfeng remembered Ning Qiushui's instructions and didn't turn on the lights. Fortunately, Liu Chengfeng worked in the kitchen during the day, so he had a general idea of where each ingredient was. However, Liu Chengfeng's hands were shaking violently. In the darkness, it seemed as if countless eyes were watching him. From those dark corners and behind doors, it seemed as if some terrifying ghost could leap out at any moment and devour him. Quick, quick. He took a deep breath and forced himself to calm down. Large beads of sweat rolled down his forehead. Soon, Liu Chengfeng had filled 3 bags with food. He dragged 3 bags of food and ran quickly upstairs, where he saw Ning Qiushui carrying the old lady and heading towards the stairwell. The old lady was plump and weighed about 150 or 160 pounds. If Ning Qiushui hadn't had extraordinary physical strength, he really wouldn't have been able to carry her. "Let's go up first." Seeing Liu Chengfeng stop in the corridor, Ning Qiushui gave the order directly. Liu Chengfeng nodded and ran up to the 3rd floor with the food. Ning Qiushui also headed towards the 3rd floor, but the floor was sticky and slippery, so he couldn't walk too fast or he would slip and fall. The old lady is in poor health. If she really falls, who knows what might happen. It'll be soon. It'll be soon. Upon reaching the 3rd floor, Ning Qiushui hurried towards the study at the far end. Liu Chengfeng was already standing inside the door, peeking out from behind the door. He looked at Ning Qiushui with a wary expression. Suddenly, he seemed to see something, and his eyes filled with immense fear. Liu Chengfeng waved at Ning Qiushui and cried out in terror, "Quick, bro, it's catching up." Upon hearing these words, Ning Qiushui, who was carrying the old man on her back, felt a chill run through her body. Sizzle, sizzle, sizzle. The terrifying sound of knives and forks scraping together rang out behind her once again. Ning Qiushui gritted her teeth and ran forward recklessly. At this point, he no longer cared about the possibility of falling. Ning Qiushui knew that if she continued to dawdle like this, he would surely die. A chilling, killing intent spread along with the pale moonlight, enveloping Ning Qiushui's entire body. He dared not look back, nor could he turn round. Hurry up, faster. Ning Qiushui roared inwardly, clenched her teeth, and ran forward with all her might. Even though he had put all his effort into it, he could still hear the terrifying scraping sound of knives and forks getting closer and closer behind him. No, he was carrying someone on his back, so he couldn't outrun that monster behind him at all. Just as she was about 5 steps away from the door, a cold and pale hand suddenly reached out from behind and grabbed Ning Qiushui's neck. "Where are you going?" A woman's voice, filled with intense resentment and icy coldness, reached my ears. Ning Qiushui felt ice cold all over, and her strength was being drained away at a speed visible to the naked eye. He was still too slow. Just as Ning Qiushui was awaiting death, a figure suddenly rushed out from behind the study door and pressed down on her pale arm. A woman's shrill scream rang out, and as a puff of white smoke rose, she released her grip. Ning Qiushui was then grabbed by another warm, large hand and dragged into the study. Upon entering the study, Liu Chengfeng rushed to the window in a panic and rehung the blood jade. After doing all this, Liu Chengfeng suddenly collapsed to the ground, his legs trembling like a leaf. "Ah!" The woman in the red dress outside screamed wildly, furious. She came to the study door with a contorted posture, looking at the two of them with venomous eyes. Only then, by the moonlight, did the two finally see the woman in the red dress clearly. What a terrifying face that was. Its enormous mouth stretched all the way to its ears, filled with countless sharp teeth, and you could vaguely see hair and bits of flesh inside. Her eyes were surrounded by cracks, as if they were rotting. His limbs were twice as long as normal, and he was coiled on the wall like a spider. The sharp knife and fork, already covered in blood and mud, were gripped tightly in one of her hands. Holy shit, what the hell is this thing? Liu Chengfeng felt like he was about to stop breathing, and he couldn't help but swear. The woman in red outside the door was extremely anxious, pacing back and forth, seemingly wanting to enter the room, but also appearing to be wary of something. In the end, she could only give up, angrily roaring a few times at the two people inside the study before turning and leaving. Almost there. It was so close. Ning Qiushui will die at the hands of that terrifying woman. If Liu Chengfeng hadn't rushed out with the blood jade at the crucial moment to help her at the cost of her life, Ning Qiushui would have surely died. "Thank you." Ning Qiushui sat cross-legged on the ground, one hand resting on her knee, panting. Just now, it was extremely dangerous. Liu Chengfeng patted his trembling legs and shook his head, saying, "I should be the one thanking you, bro. If you hadn't brought me to this place, I probably would have been eaten by that terrifying woman sooner or later." After he finished speaking, he laughed again. That was an undeniable joy of escaping death. Liu Chengfeng, like a patient who had lost his mind, lay on the ground, laughing loudly. It took him a long time to recover. By the way, buddy, what about the others? Liu Chengfeng straightened the old lady's body and, after confirming that she was all right, asked Ning Qiushui. The latter's eyes flickered slightly. We absolutely cannot go out now. It's too dangerous outside. Let's see if we can contact them from the 3rd floor tomorrow. If that doesn't work, then we've done our best. Ning Qiushui seemed indifferent to the death of a stranger. He certainly wouldn't mind helping those people, especially those people who had no grudge against him. But the premise is that you won't be in danger. After all, when he asked these people if they were willing to risk their lives with him to find the truth, not one of them stepped forward. No one would be happy to do something dangerous while others reap the benefits. He was not some compassionate and merciful saint who saved all sentient beings. By the way, buddy, I have another question. After Liu Chengfeng had basically recovered, he seemed to remember something. Asked, How do you know the killing rules of that monster in the villa? When this question was raised, Ning Qiushui remained silent in the darkness for a long while. Because I received an anonymous letter before I boarded the bus. Letter. Yes, the letter included a photo and a few words. After speaking, Ning Qiushui slowly recited those few sentences. Don't light lamps in the wind. Don't light candles in the rain. He cannot climb the tower during the day, nor can he close his eyes at night. Upon hearing these 4 sentences, Liu Chengfeng stared in disbelief. Holy crap, it matches up. Brother, you're amazing. You must have a powerful backer. Then, what about that photo? Ning Qiushui glanced at him, her gaze shifting slightly. You want to know? Liu Chengfeng's expression froze. What's wrong? Is it inconvenient? If it's inconvenient, before he could finish speaking, Ning Qiushui reached into her black plaid shirt, pulled out a slightly yellowed photograph, and pointed it directly at him. The latter looked at the photo, and his pupils suddenly contracted. No way. Under the moonlight, Liu Chengfeng saw that it was a photograph of a person, and the person in the photo is none other than Liu Chengfeng. The two looked at each other, separated only by a thin photograph, and remained silent for a long time. Liu Chengfeng saw his own photo, but he didn't see the words on the back of the photo. Yes, behind this yellowed old photograph, there is a line of black writing, a friend worth having. But a million questions. Liu Chengfeng reached out, wanting to take the photo in his hand for a closer look, but Ning Qiushui took it back and smiled at him. Surprised, I was surprised too. At first, I thought it was just a prank, or that someone had filled in the wrong recipient. But when I woke up on that bus and saw you, I realized that things weren't as simple as I thought. That bus without a driver, that mysterious thick fog, that eerie blood door, and us on the bus. There must be an unseen hand manipulating all of this behind the scenes. Upon hearing this, Liu Chengfeng gave a wry smile. Brother, excuse my bluntness, but in the real world, I'm afraid no one has the ability to do all this. You've seen what's happening outside. That's something that's simply beyond human capability. Ning Qiushui remained silent. He did not continue arguing about the matter. But so far, everything in that mysterious letter has come true. A bizarre bloodgate, strange killing rules, and a friend he doesn't even know, yet who risks his life to save him. This is a terrible thing. It was as if someone was watching him from somewhere he couldn't see. Nothing was said that night. The two of them hadn't slept much on their first night, and now, after experiencing such tension, drowsiness washed over them as soon as they calmed down. The silence of the villa was broken only by the piercing screams coming from the second floor the following morning. Clearly, someone has died again. Moreover, what terrified the survivors on the second floor even more was that they woke up to find new people dead, and 3 people had gone missing. Among them, besides Ning Qiushui, the backbone of everyone's hearts, there are other important characters. After all, the Bloodgate's task for them was to take care of the bedridden elderly for 5 days. Now that all the old folks are gone, what are they supposed to take care of? Ning Qiushui and Liu Chengfeng listened to the voices on the second floor and learned that the person who died last night was a man named Bidao. He was eaten. Waha. They've all disappeared. Have they all already been? Why? I'm so scared. I don't want to die here. Yan Yuping's intermittent sobs could be heard from downstairs. Liu Chengfeng shouted loudly at the window, trying to pass the message down to the floor below. But it seemed that their voices were trapped on the 3rd floor. No matter how loudly Liu Chengfeng shouted, no one came to rescue him. Well, no one heard him either. All right, stop howling. Seeing Liu Chengfeng's persistent look, Ning Qiushui shook her head slightly. Liu Chengfeng felt somewhat uncomfortable with Ning Qiushui's indifference. Hey buddy, aren't you a doctor? There are 2 living, breathing people down there. Are we just going to abandon them like this? Isn't that a bit too much? Ning Qiushui closed her eyes and said, although I am a veterinarian, there are 3 types of patients I will not treat. Liu Chengfeng was stunned. What are the 3 types of people you shouldn't rescue? Ning Qiushui, it would be a waste of my energy not to save a beast that is doomed to die. To not save a dying beast would shorten my lifespan. A beast that does not heal its sickness will infect me with its chronic disease. Upon hearing this, Liu Chengfeng almost burst out laughing. Hey, buddy, are you kidding me? You're a veterinarian. If you don't save this or that, won't you starve to death? Ning Qiushui said with a half smile. I'm a veterinarian, but I'm not just a veterinarian. Who told you that I make a living by treating pets? Liu Chengfeng spread his hands and said, okay, so what kind of beast would you save, buddy? Ning Qiushui's answer was quite casual. If you see someone you like, then save them. Even if I know I can't save him, I will do my best, even if it comes at a price. Liu Chengfeng glanced at Ning Qiushui with some surprise and then laughed. This guy, his personality is so interesting. After laughing, Liu Chengfeng thought of something else. He suddenly started writing and drawing in the study, then tied the notebook with the writing on it to the curtain and kept hitting the downstairs window with it. since his voice couldn't reach the second floor. The sound coming from the second floor should at least attract their attention, right? As a result, after he had only bumped into it a couple of times, the originally sturdy curtain broke. Liu Chengfeng pulled the remaining half of the curtain back, tugged at it carefully, and muttered, "That's not right. It's so sturdy. How could it break so easily?" I tried several more times, without exception. The strange phenomenon sent a chill down Liu Chengfeng's spine. He vaguely sensed an ominous feeling of being watched, so he gave up on passing messages downstairs. What's wrong? Seeing that he had finally calmed down, Ning Qiushui casually asked a question. Cold sweat beaded on Liu Chengfeng's forehead. "I feel like something is watching me. If I continue doing this..." He didn't continue speaking, but Ning Qiushui already knew the truth. Clearly, according to the rules of the villa, the third floor is separated from the other floors. If they forcibly try to pass a message from the third floor to the second or first floor, that would be breaking the rules of the world behind the blood gate, and they would face terrible misfortune. Sigh. Now they really have no choice but to leave it to fate. He sighed, sat down against the skeleton by the window, took the diary from its hand, flipped through it for a while, and said, "Hey bro, what exactly is that monster outside?" Ning Qiushui thought for a moment. Judging from the diary entries, the terrifying woman outside should be related to the little girl's maternal grandmother, and the little girl's parents must know something. But we no longer know the specifics of the situation. Perhaps, once this matter is over, we can go back and ask that man in the suit. Liu Chengfeng nodded. For the next 3 days, they ate, drank, and relieved themselves in this room. Fortunately, food and water were plentiful, so making a living was not a problem. As for the 2 survivors downstairs, they ultimately did not survive the last 3 days. On the 3rd night, after Zugiz was also killed and eaten by the female ghost in the villa, Yan Yuping, the only remaining person, suffered a mental breakdown due to extreme fear. She ran out of the villa and into the rain. Her fate was self-evident. Liu Chengfeng felt somewhat uncomfortable. After all, these people had spent some time together, and they weren't bad people. But this discomfort quickly disappeared over time. In the middle of the night on the 5th day, the 2 were fast asleep when they were awakened by the sound of a car horn suddenly blaring outside the window. The 2 quickly got up, stood at the window, and looked out at the rain. A bus was seen parked outside the villa, honking its horn. The 2 were very familiar with this bus. It was the very same vehicle that carried them into the fog that day. "Hey, the car's here. The car's here. But, bro, how are we supposed to get out of here?" Liu Chengfeng looked at the dilapidated bus parked in front of the villa and exclaimed with delight. But when he turned around, his joy was extinguished by a chill. He saw that terrifying, tall, thin woman in red standing at their doorway, staring at them with lustful eyes. It seemed that the woman in red also knew that the 2 of them wanted to go on. "We need to think of a solution quickly. That bus definitely won't wait for us for long." Ning Qiushui's eyes gleamed as she searched for tools. Just as he was considering removing the iron bars on the window, The old woman who had been lying next to him suddenly spoke, even though her voice was very faint. The two of them were close enough to hear what she was saying. "Young men, push me out here." The two slowly lowered their heads and looked at the old lady. The old lady's expression was unexpectedly calm, and her eyes regained a brief clarity. It seemed that after a long period of torment, she wanted to end it all. "It can't do anything else while eating. Push me out. While it's eating me, you all get away quickly and never come back." Liu Chengfeng glared and said, "This won't do." "Holy crap, buddy. You're really pushing the old lady out." Ning Qiushui replied, "Push and one will die. If we don't push, 3 people will die." The old lady also laughed and said, "He's right. I won't blame you. Living is just too painful for me. Just consider this a good deed. Help me get rid of this burden." Upon hearing this, Liu Chengfeng abandoned his womanly compassion and, gritting his teeth, together with Ning Qiushui, pushed the old lady in front of the red-clad female ghost outside. Originally, the woman in red didn't intend to eat the old lady because she needed to keep her alive to continue fishing. But having not eaten for 2 days, it simply couldn't resist the fresh meat being offered to its mouth. He then plunged the knife and fork into the old woman's chest and abdomen, followed by an extremely cruel scene that made Liu Chengfeng feel nauseous. "Run." Ning Qiushui snatched the blood jade from the windowsill and, together with Liu Chengfeng, darted past the female ghost who was feasting. The bone-chilling coldness emanated from the female ghost's venomous gaze, making one's legs go weak. Fortunately, the old lady wasn't lying to them. When a female ghost is eating, she cannot do anything else. "Quick!" Ning Qiushui turned round and shouted loudly, "It eats very fast." Liu Chengfeng, who was running ahead, was covered in cold sweat. He gritted his teeth and ran wildly downstairs. Bang! He practically crashed through the villa's gate. The yellow headlights of the bus ahead seemed like a life-saving ray of light from heaven, guiding the two of them. As Ning Qiushui ran out of the villa, an extremely terrifying roar came from the 3rd floor, followed by a rumbling sound from inside the villa. "That female ghost in red, she's catching up. Hey bro, quick, hurry up." Liu Chengfeng did not immediately enter the bus, but stood at the door and shouted at Ning Qiushui. As Ning Qiushui ran to the bus door, he reached out and pulled her into the bus. Behind her, a terrifying female ghost, writhing and crawling on the ground like a spider, was only a few steps away from Ning Qiushui. But as Ning Qiushui boarded the bus, the female ghost suddenly stopped chasing and roared furiously at the 2 people on the bus. But it could only bark a few times and dared not actually get close to the bus. The seemingly ferocious female ghost in red was extremely wary of the bus the 2 were on. Finally, it could only slowly turn round and disappear into the villa behind the rain. Ning Qiushui and the other person finally breathed a sigh of relief when they got back onto the driverless bus. We survived. Right. Liu Chengfeng, with his thick beard, was panting heavily. After watching the terrifying, thin female ghost enter the villa through the car window, he realized that his legs were as weak as mud. "Yes," Ning Qiushui replied. Then, Neither of them spoke again. 5 days later, of the 7 people who were originally on the bus, only to remain, Liu Chengfeng felt a strange emptiness in his heart. He didn't have much affection for the others, but seeing them die so tragically in front of him, he couldn't help but feel a sense of shared sorrow, because he, too, had come so close to death. Without Ning Qiushui, his fate would likely have been the same as most others. Shortly after the two boarded the bus, the doors closed and it slowly started moving. Soon, they emerged from the rain and entered the fog once more. The two of them, half asleep, fell asleep in the car. When they woke up again, it was already the next morning. Ning Qiushui shifted her stiff body and looked out of the car. They had already arrived outside the courtyard of that black villa. "Hey, bearded man, wake up." Ning Qiushui nudged Liu Changfen, who jumped and shouted, "A ghost! A ghost is coming! Run!" Ning Qiushui looked speechlessly at Liu Changfen, who was baring his teeth and brandishing his claws, and thought to herself that this guy was really pitiful. He was being chased by ghosts in the Bloodgate mission, and now he had to work overtime in his dreams. After confirming that the person beside him was Ning Qiushui, Liu Chengfeng wiped the sweat from his face and, panting heavily, said, "Dude, you scared me to death." Ning Qiushui pointed to the small black courtyard outside and said, "Get off the bus. We've arrived." The two got out of the car, one after the other, and walked into the black villa. When they re-entered the hall, they found that only one person remained. It was that exceptionally handsome young man. He was like a porcelain doll, with fair and rosy skin and a petite and slender figure. If he didn't speak, almost no one would guess that he was a boy. "Why are you all alone?" Liu Chengfeng frowned. Upon seeing the two return alive from behind the Bloodgate, the boy's attitude softened considerably. "Uncle Yan has something to take care of and has gone back to the previous world. Sister Xiaoxiu is taking the newcomers through the Bloodgate, and there's another one cooking in the kitchen." Ning Qiushui's eyes flickered. "Can we go back to the world we knew before?" The boy poked at the charcoal in the stove. "Why not? If you can come by bus, you can naturally go back by bus too." Well, as he spoke, he sighed and rubbed his long hair with his hand. "I hate this part the most. Every time a new person comes, I have to explain so many things until my throat is dry. What's worse is that sometimes I tell them the rules today, and they're dead the next week. But at least you came out of the Bloodgate alive. If you have any questions, ask them now." The two looked at each other, and after a moment of thought, Ning Qiu said, "What's the deal with the Bloodgate and the mist?" The boy said, "It's a curse. We are all cursed. The mist is a separate world, distinct from the outside world. Only by taking the bus within the mist can one enter and leave. The villa we are in is called the Ghost House. There are many ghost houses like ours in this misty world. Similarly, there are many Bloodgates. Every so often we have to enter the terrifying world behind the Bloodgate to complete the tasks on the Bloodgate, while trying our best to survive. We also have to collect as many puzzle pieces as possible. Once we have all 12 puzzle pieces, we can take the complete puzzle and board the bus to the end of the misty world. As the boy spoke, he pointed to a picture frame above the hall. The two looked over and saw that half of the picture frame had already been pieced together. The image depicts what appears to be a rotting human head. There was also a bloody hole on its forehead that looked like an eye, and it was bleeding profusely. It looked quite ferocious. "What lies at the end of the misty world?" Ning Qiushui asked, and the boy shrugged. "I wouldn't know that. After all, none of us have been to that place. Also, don't blame us for being too cold-hearted before. After all, you know that death is commonplace in this world. If you really made a close friend and he died in the world behind the blood gate, you would definitely be very sad." The boy's expression became somewhat subdued as he spoke. "Wasn't the ghost house before?" Ning Qiushui seemed to understand something. But before he could ask, the boy nodded. "About half a month before you arrived, Uncle Yan's best friend, Uncle Mang, died behind the blood gate. Bao and Zhaoxiu's best friend, Jizzy, also committed suicide for love. So actually, everyone's in a bad mood." The two recalled the heavy atmosphere in the hall when they first entered the haunted house, and they could understand it immediately. "All right, it's almost time to eat. After you finish eating, if you don't want to stay here any longer, you can wait for the bus at the bus stop outside the villa a week from now, when it's your turn to enter the blood gate for your second mission. The bus will come to pick you up in advance." At the dining table, the four sat facing each other in silence, engrossed in their food. "To be honest, your cooking skills are really not that great." Liu Chengfeng took a few bites and couldn't help but complain. Meng Jun, who was cooking, looked up and gave Liu Chengfeng a cold look. "If you don't like it, you can throw it away, or you can make it yourself." Liu Chengfeng was a very easygoing person with a bad temper. He wanted to retort, but when he met Meng Chen's gaze, he shrank back. Meng Chen's eyes were terrifying. In that instant, Liu Chengfeng even felt as if a knife was held to his neck. He was almost certain that this man, named Meng Jun, had killed someone. However, Liu Chengfeng wasn't one to suffer in silence. He stubbornly retorted, "I'll do it myself. I'm telling you right now, from today onwards, I, Liu Chengfeng, am the head chef here. From now on, as long as I'm here, none of you are allowed to enter the kitchen. Whatever you want to eat, I'll make it for you." He said the most cowardly thing in a tough tone. Ning Qiushui couldn't help but smile. During the meal, he learned that there were 4 old people left in this haunted house, and Liangyan was the head of the house and the first person to enter the haunted house. The boy's name is Tianzhen, and he is an orphan who lives with his younger sister. Meng Jun is Liang Yan's close friend in the outside world. He used to be a soldier and fought on the border. The only alluring beauty, Bai Zhaoxiu, is very mysterious. No one knows her identity, only that she is very powerful in the outside world. During the conversation, Ning Qiushui brought up the story of the red-clad female ghost inside their first blood gate. But Meng Jun and Tianzhen remained silent after hearing it. "Wait, why aren't you guys saying anything?" Seeing the two remain silent, Liu Chengfeng couldn't help but shout. As soon as he finished speaking, Meng Jun picked up the plate and walked towards the kitchen. "I'm stuffed," he said it casually. However, both of them could sense the change in Ning Qiushui's attitude towards them. This change was very abrupt. It felt like spring had just begun to warm up, but suddenly it plunged into the depths of winter. No, what's wrong with you guys? Did we say anything taboo? Liu Chenfang found the change in the two men's attitudes very strange, as if he had said something he shouldn't have. Tianzun's expression was uncertain, and after a long while, he finally exhaled a breath of stale air. You guys, you're really unlucky. The two exchanged a glance, and Ning Qiushui frowned and said, "How so?" Tianzun explained to the two the terrifying world mechanics behind the Bloodgate. The ghosts inside the Bloodgate are divided into two types. One type is born locally. These ghosts are all earthbound spirits, no matter how powerful or how deep their resentment. Once we complete our mission and leave the Bloodgate, our grudges with these ghosts will come to an end. The other one is rather special. Although they are also subject to the rules of the Bloodgate, they are not confined to one area. After slaughtering all the NPCs in the area, they will go to other places to cause trouble. This kind of ghost, its resentment is ridiculously strong. Normally, after you encounter it at the previous Bloodgate, the story of the next Bloodgate will be related to it. And these ghostly Bloodgate stories are more terrifying and have a higher mortality rate than ordinary Bloodgate stories. After a pause, Tianzun's tone carried an indescribable sympathy. I don't know what sins you committed to encounter such a ghost at the very first Bloodgate. No wonder only 2 of you survived in the end. But I guess this is the only way you can survive. I'm not cursing you. Go back and write your wills, and make arrangements for your affairs after you're gone. Say goodbye properly to your family and friends. Tianzun sighed deeply, cleared away the bowls and chopsticks for the 2 of them, and took them to the kitchen. Only then did the 2 realize why their attitudes had changed so drastically. Because, in their eyes, the 2 people on their side were already dead. Seriously, do you look down on us that much? If you can survive the first time you've been killed by that monster, you can survive the second and the third time. They think we won't survive the next Bloodgate, so let's prove them right. Liu Chenfang was cursing and swearing, and although he tried his best to appear disdainful, Ning Qiushui could hear a barely perceptible tremor in his voice. After washing the dishes, Tianzun still took the 2 of them to their room in the ghost house. Surprisingly, this group of people did not live in that villa. Instead, they lived in a bungalow in the garden behind the courtyard. The environment here is beautiful, and although it's quiet and deserted, it certainly looks much better than that dark villa. Tianzun handed the keys to the 2 men, gave them some instructions, and then went inside the villa to watch TV. Although they had televisions in their rooms, the screen in the villa was much larger, because Ning Qiushui and Liu Chenfang both had something on their minds. They did not take the bus back to their original world. They wanted to wait for Liangin, the head of this strange dwelling, to return so they could ask him about the next red door. But even as night fell, they didn't see anyone return to the villa. Left with no other option, the 2 decided to wait another day. In the middle of the night, Ning Qiushui couldn't sleep, so she went to the yard to clear her head. only to hear whispers coming from the villa. He raised an eyebrow and went to the back door to eavesdrop. The voices coming from inside were those of a woman and a composed man. Ning Qiushui recognized the man's voice. It was Meng Jun. As for that woman, I've never heard of her. It should belong to Bai Xiao. Bai Xiao, are you sure you're not mistaken? What? You don't believe me? You know about Yen's relationship with Mang, right? If he finds out that Mang's death was murdered, Yen probably won't let it go. Bai Xiao was about to say something when she suddenly turned her head and looked coldly at Ning Qiushui's position. Who's there? Come out. Ning Qiushui emerged from the darkness. Upon seeing that this guy was a newcomer in her haunted house, Bai Xiao's cold expression softened slightly. She was wearing lipstick. It's very popular, like a phoenix rising from the flames. She is quite different from her name. It's so late. Why aren't you going to sleep? Ning Qiushui didn't mind the other party's rejection and simply said, "You guys weren't asleep either, were you?" He sat down on the sofa with an air of nonchalance, looking at the brazier in the center. With his arrival, the two suddenly stopped talking. "May I have your name?" Finally, Bai Xiao spoke first. Ning Qiushui. How did the first Bloodgate feel? Ning Qiushui opened an unopened bottle of ice-cold beer on the table and took a sip by herself. To be honest, it's not very good. I almost died. Bai Xiao absent-mindedly hummed in response, offering a very perfunctory word of comfort. The world behind the Bloodgate is like this. You can lose your life if you're not careful, but once you get past the first gate, things will be much better. Before she could finish speaking, Meng Jun coldly said, "There is no back door." Bai Xiao snapped out of her daze and asked in surprise, "Meng Jun, what do you mean?" Meng Jun stood up. "Ask him yourself. I'm going to sleep." After saying that, he walked away without looking back. Bai Xiao looked at Ning Qiushui, who then described the first Bloodgate story to her in detail. Of course, Ning Qiushui omitted some of the facts about that mysterious, anonymous letter. They only mentioned that they had stumbled upon the rules of death. After listening to Ning Qiushui's description, Bai Xiao's expression changed repeatedly. That was a very complex look in his eyes. There was admiration, sympathy, and even a touch of regret. Meng Jun and Tianzan are right. The woman in red behind your first Bloodgate is indeed not an ordinary earthbound spirit, but an extremely troublesome and terrifying, vengeful ghost. Fortunately, this is your first instance. Its abilities and killing rules are greatly restricted by the Bloodgate. In addition, you two are bold and careful and found a way out in time. Otherwise, you two would never have been able to come back alive. Moreover, the story behind your next Bloodgate should be related to this female ghost. If you can clean it up, you might be able to bring back a ghost artifact from behind that blood door. Ning Qiushui was stunned. Ghost weapon. Bai Xiao flipped her hand, and a blood-stained wooden comb immediately appeared in her fair and delicate palm. Like this kind of thing. Generally speaking, things inside the Bloodgate cannot be taken out. However, some Bloodgates with high difficulty contain powerful items. These items are extremely valuable and have different uses. For example, with this wooden comb of mine, once it's used to comb hair, a ghost won't be able to locate the person whose hair was being combed for at least a minute. These ghost artifacts can greatly increase our survival rate behind the blood gate. Ning Qiushui recalled the blood jade he had brought out from behind the first blood gate, and seemed to be deep in thought. Things inside the blood gate cannot be taken outside. Aside from ghost artifacts, it seems that blood jade is also a ghost artifact. Seeing Ning Qiushui's expression, Bai Xiaoshu assumed he was frightened by the next blood-stained door and hesitated for a moment before saying, "Well, we don't have many people left in our ghost house. The recent batches of new recruits have been of such poor quality that they've all been wiped out in the first 3 doors. Next week you'll enter the second blood gate, and I'll take you through it for free. And you do indeed have potential worth nurturing." As Bai Xiao finished speaking, Ning Qiushui suddenly remembered that Tianzan had told them before that Bai Xiao was taking newcomers through the blood gate. This thing can still be carried. Ning Qiushui was somewhat surprised. Bai Xiao nodded. The first 6 Bloodgate trials for newcomers can be guided by experienced players. There are even dedicated studios that do this. But this kind of mentorship usually comes with huge fees. After all, everyone is human, and even experienced people can still fail when entering a low-difficulty Bloodgate. Ning Qiushui nodded, indicating her understanding. Since they're risking their lives to make money, it's normal to charge more. After all, money is just an external thing, and compared to life, it seems less important. Having figured all this out, Ning Qiushui rested for the night in the mysterious dwelling, then boarded a bus and returned to the world outside the mist. As soon as he got home, he turned on his computer. A friend named Mo sent him a message. The message was brief, unable to be found. The post office has no record of that anonymous letter. The post office staff told me that the anonymous letter I was looking for was a non-existent letter. But don't worry, I'll keep an eye out for you. Ning Qiushui squinted. The mole was his friend. She is someone who is very good at finding things. You can't even find you, Ning Qiushui muttered to herself. Ding dong. Just as he was lost in thought, the doorbell suddenly rang. Startled by the ringing bell, Ning Qiushui got up, went to the door, and opened it. She was my neighbor, a plump woman in her 50s named Mu Kui. She was wearing a floral shirt, as if she had just finished shopping, with some sweat on her forehead, and she handed a letter to Ning Qiushui with a smile. Autumn Water, your letter. Ning Qiushui took the letter, and her expression suddenly changed. Aunt Mu, where did you get this letter from? Mu Kui took out her key, opened the door, and replied casually, the email address below. You're such a careless child. You always remember to check your mailbox every time you come home. With that, she opened the door and went inside. Ning Qiushui took the letter and closed the door. He sat down on the sofa in the living room, and his breathing became rapid as he looked at the letters on the coffee table. The second letter opened. As expected, it's anonymous again. This time, however, there were no prompts, only a photo. This photo made Ning Qiushui freeze on the spot. This is actually by Jacques Sio's photo. It's also old and yellowed, looking like it's been around for many years. But the Bai Xiaoxio in the photo is about the same age as the Bai Xiaoxio he saw. The smile on her face was so lifelike, and her red lips remained vibrant, untouched by the passage of time. Holy crap. This time, even the usually calm Ning Qiushui couldn't help but swear. This is really too bizarre. He slowly flipped through the photos. My fingers trembled slightly. On the back of the photo, there is also a sentence. She can't die at your second door. Really. Ning Qiushui's back felt cold. The guy who sent the letter is watching him from somewhere. Only, why did he have these photos? And why did he give himself these hints? What exactly is he going to do? Chapter 16. The Second Bloodgate Praying Rain Village. Putting down the yellowed photos in her hand, Ning Qiushui felt her heart pounding wildly. Who exactly has been spying on him? Even the misty world couldn't stop them from spying. After sitting on the sofa, Ning Qiushui finally came to her senses after a long while. After hesitating for a moment, he sent the message to his friend Mole. The Mole quickly replied, "Well, this is bad. We haven't even figured out the last letter yet, and here comes another one. All right, don't worry. I'm not too busy right now. I'll try to help you. If all else fails, I'll contact that woman." Upon hearing that woman's name, Ning Qiushui visibly paused. "Bye," and after a moment, simply said, "Thanks." After hanging up the phone, he felt as if all his strength had been drained away, and he collapsed onto the sofa. A few days later, one morning, Ning Qiushui was brushing her teeth when she suddenly had a premonition. He quickly rinsed his mouth, went to the window, and looked downstairs. As expected, a thick fog rose in the residential area. A dilapidated bus was parked downstairs. Within a 10-meter radius of the bus, there was no fog, as if it had been isolated. Ning Qiushui opened the door to her home. The entire building was completely silent. It was as if he were the only one left there. Ning Qiushui sighed, went home to retrieve the blood jade she had brought from behind the first bloodgate, and went downstairs. As soon as I boarded the bus, I heard a familiar voice exclaim in surprise, "Brother." Ning Qiushui looked up and froze for 2 seconds before realizing it was Liu Chengfang. However, after returning this time, Liu Chengfang seemed to have tidied himself up, shaving off his thick beard. Without his beard, Liu Chengfang looked much cleaner and fresher, but he still appeared rugged. Just us. Ning Qiushui sat down next to Liu Chengfang. Probably Liu Chengfang sighed. Although he still had that carefree demeanor, Ning Qiushui still noticed Liu Chengfang's dark circles. He clearly hasn't been sleeping well these past few days. "Have you been having nightmares again these past few days?" Ning Qiushui asked. Liu Chengfang nodded, unscrewed the mineral water bottle, and muttered, "Damn it, that female ghost appears in my dreams every day. It's terrifying." Ning Qiushui joked, "Then she truly loves you deeply. As the saying goes, a predestined marriage is tied by a single thread." You should cherish this opportunity. Puff. Liu Chengfeng, who was drinking water, couldn't help but spit it out. Dude, you've gone too far. Since you know how to cherish her so much, why don't you go and love her properly? Ning Qiushui shrugged and said regretfully, I wish I could, but they don't even look at me and have never appeared in my dreams. Upon hearing this, Liu Chengfeng's face was even paler, and he muttered a few curses under his breath. Handsome men attract trouble. Then Ning Qiushui, who was standing to the side, suddenly thought of something and asked, By the way, you still haven't told me why the first blood gate is sticking to me. Double quotes. Several days later, the question was raised again. Liu Chengfeng's eyes darted around, and he said with a mysterious look, Hey buddy, let me ask you a question. Do you believe in fate? Ning Qiushui was stunned by Liu Chengfeng's question. He thought about it carefully for a moment, then shook his head. I don't believe it. Liu Chengfeng chuckled. I believe you. He flipped his palm over, and 3 square-eyed copper coins appeared inside. They are strung together by fine threads of 3 colors, red, yellow, and blue. I performed 3 divinations inside that blood-stained door. In the end, we discovered that the other 2 hexagrams were both death hexagrams, but only your hexagram was different. Brother, you are the only one in the team who can survive. Ning Qiushui's eyes sparkled, and she smiled. Liu Chengfeng, you really are good at fortune-telling. Liu Chengfeng sighed. There's no other way. It's not easy to make a living these days. When you're out in the world, it's always good to have more skills. Why didn't you tell me before? Upon hearing Ning Qiushui's question, Liu Chengfeng looked hesitant. Young man, there are rules to our line of work too. First, never divine your own fate. Divination for others is not for yourself. Divination for yourself will surely lead to death. Secondly, you should not perform divination for your colleagues if you already know the facts. Third, you must not tell fortunes for the dead. Besides these 3 things not counting, there are 2 more things we won't discuss. First, one should not tell the fortune teller everything. The more one tells, the more one's lifespan will be shortened. Secondly, matters with too great an impact should not be discussed. If it is only about saving one person or helping him avert a disaster, the impact on the divination itself is limited. However, if that person's life or death involves too many things, then the diviner should not interfere casually. Otherwise, he may be punished by heaven. Ning Qiushui understood. So, once it's all over, you can speak out and it won't affect you anymore, right? Liu Chengfeng nodded. Certainly. What has already happened can be said however one wants. The bus drove into the fog, and no other passengers boarded. The 2 arrived at the familiar haunted house. As soon as they entered, they saw 4 people sitting in the lobby. They seemed to be discussing something important, and their conversation immediately stopped as soon as the 2 men entered. It seems that we came at a rather inopportune time, Ning Qiushui said, half-jokingly. Liang Yan replied calmly. The Gish is our home, and it is also your home. You can come home whenever you want. There is no such thing as inappropriateness. By the way, your second door is about to open. Are you ready? Ning Qiushui sighed. Just because you're not ready, does that mean you can't go in? An inexplicable silence fell over the hall. Bai Zhaoxiao stood up. Let's go to the third floor. She changed into a sporty, fitted outfit, which made her look more youthful and energetic, being less seductive than when she wore a nightgown. The two followed her to the third floor of the ghost house. In the center, there was still that wooden door that exuded a chilling aura. Outside, several lines of blood-red text appeared. Quest: survive the village's 7th day of temple ritual. Clue: the blood of the kind flowed and became sweet rain. The heads of the merciful were severed and brought peace. The innocent closed their eyes, begging for the arrival of sweet rain and peace. They waited and waited. The blood gate still has hints, Ning Qiushui asked in surprise. Bai Zhaoxiao, who was standing to the side, explained, only the first blood gate is missing, because for 99.999% of people, the first blood gate is very easy to open. It's quite difficult for a ghost to kill someone. In most cases, it's just a scare, and it won't actually do anything. She paused, her eyes gleaming with a teasing light, and said to the two of them, as if flirting, that's why I said you two have bad luck. You ran into this kind of ghost at the very first blood gate, and you almost got wiped out. After the first door, the second door will be significantly more difficult, but the blood door will also provide corresponding important hints. Then there's the 6th door, but we can talk about that later. The most urgent task at present is to find a way to survive through the second door. Your second door is no simple matter. After Bai Zhaoxiao patiently explained, Ning Qiushui immediately memorized the hints on the blood gate. The blood of the kind flowed and became sweet rain. The heads of the merciful were severed and brought peace. The innocent closed their eyes and begged for sweet rain and peace. This hint is weird. It sounds kind of creepy. Soon, it was time for them to enter. The blood-stained wooden door was slowly pushed open again by a pale hand. And then the three of them began to lose consciousness. When Ning Qiushui regained consciousness, she found herself in front of a huge building. The building was quite dilapidated. The two white walls at the entrance were covered with cracks and damp, smelly moss. The ground was covered with pebbles and wild grass. On the white wall to the right, painted red, are written, Q Village Tourist Group, Guest House Tourist Group. Are we here as tourists this time? Ning Qiushui looked around. There were 14 people in the large courtyard, standing in 2s and 3s. If nothing unexpected happens, these people should be like him, belonging to the Bloodgate outer ghost house. Soon, Ning Qiushui found Liu Chengfeng and Bai Zhaoxiao. However, the two of them didn't look too good. Ning Qiushui stepped forward and whispered, "What's wrong?" Bai Zhaoxiao nodded towards Liu Chengfeng and said lazily, "Ask him." Ning Qiushui looked at Liu Chengfeng. The latter had sweat on his face and a hint of fear in his eyes. "I was born at the foot of the mountain behind that jungle. I was trying to follow the signs through the jungle, but when I got to the middle of the jungle, I saw a headless person. Ning Qiushui's gaze sharpened slightly. "Are you sure?" Liu Chengfeng was panting, his eyes filled with intense fear. "Right, I'm sure." It kept going forward, and then, as Liu Chengfeng spoke, his voice began to tremble. "Tell me quickly, and then what happened?" Ning Qiushui urged. Liu Chengfeng's next words sent a chill down Ning Qiushui's spine. Then it blended into the crowd and disappeared. Ning Qiushui disappeared. Liu Chengfeng nodded emphatically. "Right, that headless person is hiding in the crowd." After saying that, he glanced around fearfully and took a deep breath. Ning Qiushui then turned to look at Bai Shaoxu's sister. "Bai, what do you think?" Bai Shaoxu shook her head. "Don't panic yet. This is only the second blow. The ghost isn't so monstrous as to kill people the moment it comes out. However, we still need to be extra careful." As soon as she finished speaking, a middle-aged man's voice suddenly came from outside. "Everyone, I'm so sorry to have kept you waiting for so long." The people in the open space turned their heads and saw a middle-aged man with dark skin, dressed simply, walking in front of them. "Let me introduce myself. My name is Hukong, and I'm the supervisor at Q Village Travel Agency. I've been on duty for the past few days, and I usually sit in the lobby on the first floor. If you have any questions, please let me know. If you all enjoyed this trip, please help spread the word later. Thank you." As he spoke, with a smile on his face, he handed out room keys to everyone present. "There's a free canteen next to the village guest house. After you've eaten and drunk your fill, you can wander around. Our Q Village has quite a few unique local attractions. 7 days from now, it will be the village's annual temple festival. Everyone in the village will participate, and you can join us too. Although you outsiders don't believe in these things, it can't hurt to ask for a blessing." He briefly explained a few things to everyone, and then led them to the guest house. Throughout the entire process, the person in charge, named Hu Kong, had a smile on his face. The smile was faint and distant, but it looked quite eerie. Ning Qiushui felt a chill run down her spine after just one glance. "These are your rooms. Electricity and hot water are available 24 hours a day. There are some rules in the village, and we hope you will try your best to abide by them. First, there is a curfew in the village, from midnight to 6 a.m. It is best not to go out. Secondly, the mountain behind the village is the site of a temple, and outsiders are not allowed to approach it now due to preparations for the sacrificial ceremony. Third, if you encounter anything strange in the village, you can go to Granny Ruin." After saying all this, Hu Kang didn't care whether anyone had any questions and hurriedly went downstairs. Through the window of the hall, Ning Qiushui saw Hukong walk into the dense black jungle, and then he never came out again. After regaining his senses, he began to check his residence. Although the guest house looked dilapidated, with cracks all over the wooden floors and doors, the rooms were relatively clean. Ning, Liu, and Bai's stood together when the keys were handed out, so their rooms were next to each other. Inside the room, Ning Qiushui glanced at the ticking clock above her head. 3 p.m. There's still some time before dinner. He wandered around his room and found that the bed and floor were clean, and the walls were new and white. But there was a persistent smell of burning in the air. It looks like something's on fire. At this moment, Ning Qiushui suddenly felt something warm in his pocket. He subconsciously reached in and found the blood jade. Ning Qiushui saw that the blood jade lying in her palm was emitting a faint red light. This scene was familiar to him. Back then, in the villa behind the first blood gate, whenever the red-clad female ghost on the 3rd floor approached their room, the hanging blood jade would emit a red light. In an instant, Ning Qiushui's body tensed up. Could it be that there's something unclean in his room? The thought of an unseen, dirty thing lurking in the shadows and watching her from her room sent chills down Ning Qiushui's spine. He left the room quietly and went into the hallway. But then a scene unfolded that sent chills down his spine. The red light emanating from the blood jade in his palm did not extinguish. It even grew brighter. Holy crap. Ning Qiushui couldn't help but mutter a curse under her breath. He waved the blood jade around for a while, his unease growing stronger, because he soon discovered that the ruby would emit light whenever it was in the guest house. Could it be that the entire guest house is unclean? He pondered for a moment, then immediately found Bai Zhouxiu and Liu Chengfeng, called them into the room, and closed the door. Then Ning Qiushui took out the blood jade and placed it in front of the two of them. Hey, isn't this the one from our last dungeon? Holy crap, why is it glowing? Liu Chengfeng's face first showed surprise, then turned into horror. He remembered the female ghost from the previous blood-stained door and looked around at every corner of the room. But I didn't see anything scary. Stop looking. Ning Qiushui shook her head, her expression becoming much more serious. As long as it's in the guest house, this blood jade will emit light. After speaking, he carefully explained the origin and effects of the blood jade to Bai Zhouxi, who was standing next to him. After listening, Bai Zhouxi frowned. She parted her red lips slightly. There is definitely something wrong with this guest house. After saying that, Bai Zhouxi looked around Ning Qiushui's room, and her gaze settled on the wooden bed. The wooden bed had been carefully cleaned and was quite spotless. Even the small corners at the headboard were spotless, but Bai Zhouxi stretched out her slender fingers and gently ran them across the floor beneath the bed. Her fingers were covered in a thick layer of dust and a little hair. Did you see that? The two nodded. Ning Qiushui seemed thoughtful, while Liu Chengfeng was completely confused. Isn't this just because the area downstairs wasn't cleaned? That's normal, Ning Qiushui said. That's not the problem. It's the dust buildup. It's too thick. It's like a house that hasn't been used for a long time, suddenly being cleaned up and made available for us to use. Liu Chengfeng was taken aback. That's right. A hint of admiration appeared in Bai Zhouxi's eyes as she looked at Ning Qiushui. She has mentored many newcomers. There are very few newcomers as thoughtful and perceptive as Ning Qiushui. In fact, most newcomers are not even as good as Liu Chengfeng. When they encounter trouble, all they know is to scream and cry for help. Wait a minute. This is the village's tourist agency and guest house. I heard from that NPC named Wukang that the village really cares about tourism. How could it have been unused for so long? Lu Chengfang felt a chill run down his spine for no apparent reason. Ning Qiushui continued, "You're right, unless..." As he spoke, his expression changed slightly, and he looked up just in time to meet Bai Shaoxiu's eyes. The other person's expression was equally solemn, and he nodded almost imperceptibly, as if he knew what he was thinking. Unless what Lu Chengfang was extremely anxious. So he leaned forward and asked, pressing his face close to his own. Ning Qiushui shook her head. "It's not entirely certain yet. I'll let you know later." Bai Xiaoxiu checked the time. "We don't have much time left today, and we don't know when it gets dark in the village. So let's get some rest after dinner. Let's go for a stroll in the village again tomorrow morning." Liu Chengfang raised an eyebrow. "We have so much time in the evening. Why don't we go out for a walk?" He remembered the previous blood door, where the female ghost had told them never to go to the 3rd floor. But it turned out that the way out was hidden on the 3rd floor. This time, the NPC named Wukang also told them not to go out at night. Perhaps Bai Xiaoxiu glanced at him and said calmly, "The world behind the blood gate is usually extremely dangerous at night. Think about the last blood gate you had. Didn't the ghosts always come out to kill people at night? Unless there are clear hints or specific clues that warrant taking risks. I do not recommend operating at night. Of course, if you think you're the chosen one, then disregard what I say." Liu Chengfang immediately wilted. After dinner, the three of them returned to their rooms to rest. As it turns out, Bai Xiaoxiu's experience was indeed very useful, because around 7 o'clock, the sky over Q village darkened at a visible speed. It took less than 10 minutes for the sun to shine brightly and the sky to turn completely dark. Even at the nearest tourist attraction, it's impossible to walk back in 10 minutes. In other words, those who are still out there searching for a way to survive must return in the dark. It's not even midnight yet, so it should be fine, right? Ning Qiushui thought to herself. The moonlight was very bright, and although night had fallen outside, the muddy road was still clearly visible. The blood jade emitted a faint glow and sat on the bed. He lay down on the bed, closed his eyes, and rested quietly. Ning Qiushui woke up around midnight. He was awakened by a start. Ning Qiushui heard something coming from inside the room. Almost instantly, Ning Qiushui regained her senses. He listened intently, holding his breath. "Tell you how to..." and sensed something crawling on the floor of his room. Creak, creak. That thing probably had claws, and when it crawled on the ground, it made a screeching sound that sent chills down your spine. Ning Qiushui's whole body stiffened. He was almost certain that this thing could not possibly be a person. The blood jade in his palm grew increasingly hot. What is that down there? A strong, burnt smell wafted from between my nostrils, just like the one I'd smelled during the day. Ning Qiushui desperately wanted to turn her head to see what was under the bed, but her reason told her that she absolutely could not move at this moment. The slightest movement could be the difference between life and death. gurgle. The terrifying thing made an extremely unpleasant sound from its throat, and as it crawled, it seemed to have discovered Ning and suddenly crawled towards this end of the bed. The sound of claws scraping against the ground was particularly terrifying. Ning Qiushui felt a chill emanating from her entire body. The acrid smell of burning permeated every corner of the room. If she hadn't been trying her best to hold it in, Ning Qiushui would definitely have started coughing violently. But he knew that he absolutely could not cough at this moment. Although Ning Qiushui didn't see the ghostly thing crawling under the bed, he vaguely guessed that the other party probably couldn't see him and didn't know that he was in the bed. Ning Qiushui, under immense psychological pressure, did not utter a single sound. Sure enough, the ghost crawling around the room was unable to climb onto the bed due to some kind of restriction. It only crawled under the bed for a while, and after confirming that there was nothing it was looking for, it crawled out the door again. When it left, it even closed the door for Ning Qiushui. This ghost is actually quite polite. Ning Qiushui made a self-deprecating remark to herself, but only he knew how dangerous the situation had just been. He guessed that if he had made any loud noise or made eye contact with the ghost, he might have been dragged away or killed. After the ghost, which reeked of burning, left, the burning smell in the room faded considerably. The temperature of the blood jade in Ning Qiushui's hand gradually returned to normal, and it wasn't so hot anymore. Just as he was about to go back to sleep, a man's extremely shrill scream came from outside the window. The screams were so terrifying that they instantly dispelled all of Ning Qiushui's drowsiness. "Help, help me," the man called out to the guest house for help. But all he received in response was deathly silence. Ning Qiushui carefully got out of bed, went to the wooden door, locked it from the inside, and then walked step by step to the window, looking down in the cold moonlight. He saw a dark figure stumble out of the woods, scratching its neck furiously. It was the man who cried for help. The man cried out for help to the guest house while frantically scratching his neck as if there was something there. He tried to reach towards the guest house, but his hand seemed to retract uncontrollably, and he continued to frantically scratch his neck. He just kept pacing around in the courtyard, seemingly unable to get close to the guest house. The man's screams grew increasingly pitiful, sending chills down one's spine. But throughout the entire ordeal, not a single person from the guest house went out to rescue him. Perhaps no one heard it, but even if someone heard it, no one dared to save him. Everyone knows how terrifying the world behind the Blood Gate is. Rushing out to rescue someone might not only fail to save them, but could also cost you your life. Finally, after about 10 minutes, the man outside stopped screaming. Ning Qiushui thought the matter was over, but what happened next made her eyes widen and she almost screamed. He saw that in the pale moonlight, the man in the courtyard was kneeling on the ground, and with his hands he had pulled his head off. A large amount of blood gushed out, reaching as high as the second floor. Even more terrifying, after tearing off his own head. The man was still alive, and was still making chilling cries for help. It hurts. Help me. Please, help me. It hurts so much. It hurts so much. Why? Why didn't anyone come to save me? Why? As he spoke, he suddenly picked up his bloodied head and slowly turned towards the guest house, as if inspecting each room. Ning Qiushui immediately withdrew her gaze and walked back to her bed step by step. He felt his heart beating extremely fast. It wasn't until much later that the noise outside finally subsided. Ning Qiushui finally drifted off to sleep. The next morning, Ning Qiushui was awakened by a knock on the door. He got up and opened the door. Bai Xiao was already dressed. She was still the same as always, with almost no makeup on her face, only a touch of bright red lipstick. After we get dressed and have breakfast, let's go to the nearest tourist attraction. Maybe we can find some useful clues for survival. Ning Qiushui nodded without saying anything more. He quickly dressed and went downstairs, where he saw Liu and Bai already waiting at the door. A large crowd has already gathered here. Ning Qiushui counted them, then suddenly frowned. 3 people are missing. Did they leave first, or are they still in bed? Or perhaps, what's wrong? Ning Qiushui approached Liu and Bai and asked. Neither of them spoke. Bai Xiaoshui raised her delicate chin, gesturing for Ning Qiushui to look towards the open space in the distant courtyard. There, a corpse lay, blood and gore. It has no head. It was the man Ning Qiushui saw last night. He pushed through the whispering crowd and walked toward the body. The man's head was gone, leaving only a headless corpse. His neck was covered with bloody scratches, and bits of flesh remained on his fingernails. Does anyone know him? Ning Qiushui suddenly turned around and asked a question to the crowd. At this moment, a little girl stepped forward from the crowd, her face pale, and replied softly and weakly, He seems to be my friend, but I'm not sure, because his head is missing. Ning Qiushui waved to her. Then come over and take a closer look. Upon hearing this, the girl panicked, hurriedly waving her hands, her voice trembling with tears. No, I won't go. Ning Qiushui remained silent. But after thinking about it, I seemed to feel relieved. This was his second bloodgate. So most of the other people he was matched with were also newbies. Seeing such a gruesome corpse for the first time, I doubt anyone would react well. At that moment, someone in the crowd seemed to push the girl. She screamed, staggered forward a few steps, and knelt down in front of the headless corpse. The girl quickly covered her eyes, unable to bear looking at the corpse in front of her. Fortunately, after a night of wind, the smell of blood from the corpse wasn't so strong anymore. Otherwise, Ning Qiushui was worried that the girl would vomit. He stood up, positioned himself at a certain angle, and said to the girl who was covering her eyes, "All right, I've covered up the bloody parts for you. Now look at his clothes and other details. Can you confirm his identity?" Upon hearing this, the girl carefully opened a crack between her fingers, peeked for a few seconds, and then nodded, her voice trembling. It's him." Ning Qiushui frowned. Really, those who died were among them. Do you know what he did yesterday? The girl took a deep breath, and it took her a long time to calm her fear. Last night, he wanted me to go with him to the temple on the mountain behind the village. He said that the NPC named Hu Kang wouldn't let us go there, probably because the path to survival was there. But I was scared, so I didn't go. He went alone, and then he never came back. Temple. Upon hearing her words, Liu Chengfen's face paled. Clearly, he had had this idea before. However, due to Bai Zhaoxiu's obstruction, he did not put his idea into practice otherwise. There is likely one more headless corpse in the open space now. See, this is what happens when you act rashly at night. Bai Zhaoxiu's voice was very soft, but it sent a chill down Liu Chengfang's spine. All right, let's go to the cafeteria for lunch. She parted her lips slightly, yawned, and after speaking, led the way out of the guest house, bypassing the corpse, and headed towards the village's canteen. Someone in the crowd behind him glared and said, "No, the body is just lying here. Are we just going to ignore it?" Bai Zhaoxiu didn't even turn her head. "If you really want to, you can bury him, but it's pointless. Inside the blood gate, the dead, their bodies will soon disappear." After carefully examining the corpse, Ning Qiushui seemed to discover something. She took something out of the corpse's clothes, secretly hid it in her palm, and then stood up and followed by Zhaoxiu and Liu Chengfang to the cafeteria. The canteen was built not far from their guest house. Unlike the guest house, this canteen looks strange. Generally speaking, a canteen is a large hall where everyone sits and eats together. However, the canteen in Qiu village is divided into 3 floors, and there are also many small rooms specifically for diners. While getting her food, Ning Qiushui asked the woman in charge of cooking, "Auntie, are all the cafeterias here small like this?" The woman serving food seemed surprised that Ning Qiushui would ask her that question. She froze for a long time, a hint of panic flashing in her eyes, before stammering, yes, it used to be a large canteen. But some tourists didn't like it, and tourism is an important source of income for the village. So we changed it into a small room like this. Ning Qiushui's gaze sharpened slightly upon hearing this. That source? Which source? The cafeteria lady seemed flustered by Ning Qiushui's sharp gaze. She looked away and said, "It's about the economy. I think it's called economics." "Oh dear, Auntie. I'm just a cook. I don't know anything about these things. You should ask the relevant person in charge about this." Ning Qiushui nodded slightly and smiled. "Thanks." He carried his food to a small cubicle on the left side of the first floor. Bai Zhaoxiu and Liu Chengfang were talking about something. Upon seeing Ning Qiushui enter, Liu Chengfeng hurriedly asked, "Hey buddy, did you hear cries for help outside your window last night?" Ning Qiushui put down her plate. "I heard you. It's that dead man outside. Call in for help." He first ran out of the woods, then frantically scratched his neck, and finally tore off his own head. Listening to Ning Qiushui's calm description, Liu Chengfeng felt a chill run down his spine. He tore off his own head. How is this possible? Bai Zhouxiu, who was picking up food, said calmly, "Nothing is impossible in the world behind the Blood Gate. Ning Qiushui and I were definitely not the only ones who witnessed this scene last night. That man screamed for a long time after tearing off his own head before he died. No one went out to rescue him, and it's fortunate that no one went out, otherwise who knows what might have happened." As soon as Bai Zhouxiu finished speaking, Liu Chengfeng shuddered. He could imagine just how bizarre and terrifying that scene must have been. But these two people in front of me are actually so calm. Bai Zhouxiu is one thing. She's an old woman who's been through the Blood Gate. But Ning Qiushui's mental fortitude, isn't that a bit abnormal? So, why did he tear off his own head? Liu Chengfeng asked the question cautiously. After a moment of silence at the dining table, Ning Qiushui suddenly took out a small wooden plaque from her bosom and placed it on the table. I don't know why he tore off his own head, but I do know he must have encountered something unclean in the temple behind Q village. The two men's eyes narrowed sharply as they looked at the wooden plaque in Ning Qiushui's hand. That was a memorial tablet for a dead person. "Young man, what's this?" Found it in his arms. "Holy crap, this is an extremely ominous object. How dare you touch it?" Ning Qiushui shook her head. He then took out the blood jade and placed it next to the memorial tablet. The blood jade did not emit light. I've checked it, and the tablet itself is fine. The problem lies in the temple. Bai Zhouxiu took the memorial tablet, stretched out her fingers, and gently rubbed the name on the tablet, her beautiful eyes shining. "Guangchuan." She murmured the name softly, as if she had thought of something. Then Bai Zhouxiu held the memorial tablet to her nose and smelled it, raising her eyebrows slightly. "It smells like incense and candles. It certainly looks like something offered to the dead." Liu Chengfeng, standing to the side, said, "Let me smell it." Bai Zhouxiu handed the memorial tablet to him. Liu Chengfeng leaned closer to smell it, and his expression changed drastically. Seeing that something was wrong with him, the two hurriedly asked, "What's wrong? Is something the problem?" Liu Chengfeng's expression was solemn, and his voice was slightly hoarse. "My uncle used to specialize in incense. Generally, when offering incense to the dead, we use sandalwood, or agarwood, or even ambergris and patchouli, besides representing the living's respect for the dead. The most important thing about these 7 incense is to ward off poison and evil spirits. But the fragrance emanating from this memorial tablet is actually the scent of locust wood used to ward off evil spirits. That kind of thing. It's not sold on the market at all. It's made by experts in incense using special methods." After saying that, he smelled it again to make sure he hadn't made a mistake. Then the 3 of them fell silent again. They all realized that something was wrong with the village. The objects enshrined in the temple behind Q village don't seem to be any deities, but rather dead people. Even more bizarrely, some people are even using the incense from locust trees, which is believed to attract ghosts, to worship the spirit tablets of the dead. I told you, This Bloodgate incident is going to be extremely troublesome for you. A rare look of seriousness appeared between Bai Xiaoxuo's brows. Its actual difficulty is likely to be higher than that of a normal person's fourth or even fifth door. But it's also conceivable that without the underworld, without so many twists and turns, it would have been impossible for such a terrifying, vengeful ghost to have been born at the first Bloodgate you encountered. Ning Qiushui remembered something and told the two of them about the charred thing crawling around in the room last night. Both of them shook their heads, indicating that they hadn't encountered that thing last night. Even so, Liu Chengfen's expression still turned quite grim. The village behind this blood-red gate is truly horrific. It seems we need to speed things up. The village's temple festival is in 6 days, and that's the deadline the Bloodgate has given us to find a way out. If we can't find a way out in these 6 days, then something extremely terrifying will happen when the temple festival begins. As Bai Xiaoxuo spoke, a chilling smile appeared on her lips, sending shivers down the spines of the two people beside her. All right, Sister Bai. The world behind this Bloodgate is scary enough already. Stop playing tricks on us. Where should we go after we finish eating? Liu Chengfang raised his hands in surrender. Bai Xiaoxuo rolled her eyes, put down her chopsticks, and said, "Let's go. To the nearest one first. About 2 miles from here, there is a Fu temple. We can go there first and take a look. And while we're at it, ask the villagers who this Guangchuan is. I have a feeling that this dead man named Hirakawa is a key clue to solving all of this." They both agreed. After the meal, they returned to the guest house. Just as Bai Xiaoxuo said, the headless corpse was gone. Even the blood on the ground had completely disappeared. It was as if nothing had ever happened here. Meanwhile, Wukong remained in his room at the guest house, but he sat at his desk like a puppet, repeating only 2 things: drink water, answer the phone. Okay, I'll arrange it. Gurgle. Okay, I'll arrange it. Gurgle. Why? After watching for only a short while, all 3 of them felt a chill run down their spines. Ning Qiushui tried to talk to Wukong, but no matter what she said, he would only smile and say, "Okay." Seeing that they couldn't get any more information, the 3 of them had no choice but to leave the guest house. The sunlight shone on them, but the 3 of them felt no warmth whatsoever. Damn, this place is too creepy. Liu Chengfeng rubbed his arms together and cursed. Bai Xiaoxuo slung her backpack over her shoulder and said, "This is just the beginning. The truly bizarre things are yet to come. Just watch. This door of yours has only just begun. I hope that when you leave this room, you won't be left with any psychological trauma. P.S. I'll still be posting 3 updates today. The last update will be too late to finish, so I'll post them together tomorrow afternoon. Good night." Fu Temple. This is a rather special ancestral hall. It was built in the jungle about 2 kilometers away from the village. This large jungle is itself a scenic spot in Qiu village. The villagers have spent many years building a network of jungle trails and detailed road signs, so that visitors can have the feeling of jungle adventure without getting lost or encountering danger. We traveled eastward along the jungle trail. The 2-kilometer journey is not long. It takes about 20 minutes to get there. On the way, seemingly worried that the headless black shadow would appear again, Liu Chengfeng kept looking around, appearing quite like a frightened bird. Fortunately, they were lucky. The journey was smooth, and when they arrived at the Fu Temple, the sun shone even brighter, slightly dispelling the gloom in everyone's hearts. The ancestral hall is exquisitely built, and its solemnity and grandeur can be felt from a distance. There is a ditch not far away. It was not yet the rainy season, so the ditches were shallow, littered with jagged rocks, and scattered with many wooden stakes destroyed by the rainy season embedded in the silt. The three entered the ancestral hall, where only an elderly man with a hunched back was sweeping the ground in the outer courtyard. There is a small house nearby. It looks like the place where the elderly usually eat and live. The ancestral hall was very quiet, and the three of them did not see anyone else besides the old man. "Old man!" Liu Chengfeng shouted loudly, but the old man completely ignored him. The three felt something was off. As they got closer, they realized that the old man had poor hearing. He could only barely hear outside sounds with one ear, and they had to be very close to hear what the old man was saying. No wonder they were thrown into a place like this. Liu Chengfeng sighed. They told the old man they were visiting the ancestral hall, and he was very happy, saying that he could dick around the hall as long as he didn't touch anything inside. At this moment, Bai Zhaoxiu asked the old man again if anyone had come to the ancestral hall yesterday. The old man recalled for a moment and said that 2 people came in the evening, around 8 or 9 o'clock, but they left after a short time. After chatting for a while, Bai Zhaoxiu suddenly changed the subject and asked, "Grandpa, do you know Guangchuan?" The old man frowned and pressed his ear, which he could barely hear, closer to Bai Zhaoxiu. "What kind of ship?" Bai Zhaoxiu shouted into his ear, "Hirokawa, the vastness of Guang, the mountains and rivers of Chuan." Upon hearing this, the old man's face changed drastically, and he hurriedly shook his head, saying, "No, I don't know him. I don't know him. I've never heard of him. I don't know him." He spoke incoherently, repeating himself over and over, seemingly trying his best to convince everyone that he really didn't know Guangchuan. At this moment, Ning Qiushui suddenly reached into her clothes, took out Guangchuan's memorial tablet, and handed it to the old man. "Grandpa, please look closely. Don't you really recognize him?" Upon seeing the memorial tablet, the old man holding the broom suddenly felt an indescribable fear welling up in his cloudy eyes. He screamed, as if he had been stimulated by something, threw down the broom, turned around, and limped away into the distance. As he ran, he kept shouting, "It wasn't me. It wasn't me. I don't know anything. Don't come looking for me." The old man ran frantically, not knowing where he was going, until he reached the ditch. He tripped over some weeds and fell into the ditch, where he immediately fell silent. The three of them felt a chill in their hearts, a very bad premonition creeping in. They immediately went to the ditch to check. But what they saw when they arrived at the ditch left them completely stunned. The old man fell backward onto a wooden stake, his chest and the back of his head pierced by huge splinters. Bright red blood gushed out, flowing downstream in the shallow stream. The old man's empty eyes still held a trace of terror as he stared blankly at the three people on the bank of the ditch. Liu Chengfeng was so frightened by those dead eyes that he took half a step back and said, "Holy crap, dead." Both of them looked rather grim. He clearly knows something, but for some reason, he doesn't dare to speak up. As Bai Zhoxiu spoke, she turned her head toward Ning Qiushui. "Little brother Qiushui, what are your thoughts?" She saw Ning Qiushui staring at the old man's body in deep thought, so she asked her. But Ning Qiushui shook her head. "I'm still thinking about the cafeteria." Bai Zhoxiu frowned slightly. "The cafeteria? What happened to the cafeteria?" Ning Qiushui said softly, "Don't you guys think the cafeteria's layout is a bit strange?" The two nodded. Liu Chengfeng, standing to the side, scratched his head and said, "It is quite strange, but maybe that's just how the village canteen is." Ning Qiushui stared into their eyes and asked a question that sent chills down their spines. "Do you think it's possible that the village's current canteen was originally a guest house for tourists?" After Ning Qiushui finished speaking, Liu Chengfeng froze for a moment, then immediately gasped in shock. "Damn, bro. Now that you mention it, it does look somewhat similar." Bai Zhoxiu's eyes flashed. "It's not just similar, it must be." The cafeteria has 3 floors. Apart from the central area for serving food, the rest are all small cubicles, about the size of a room. I also thought it was strange before, but I didn't think about it in this way. But now, it seems that the clues are connecting a little. After saying that, she reached out and patted Ning Qiushui's shoulder, raising an eyebrow in praise. "Great, little brother Qiushui. I haven't met a man as meticulous as you in a long time." Ning Qiushui was speechless at Bai Zhoxiu's half-teasing tone. "Goodness, are you praising me or insulting me?" So, the current situation is the guest house that was originally meant to accommodate tourists has been converted into a canteen, while the villagers have converted another large house that has been uninhabited for a long time into a guest house. Liu Chengfeng seemed to understand something. Ning Qiushui nodded. "Right, but why would they do that? I don't know, but that mansion isn't clean, so they definitely don't want us to be happy." As the three talked, they passed through several doors and entered the ancestral hall, where they saw a painting in the main hall, a statue next to the painting, and annotations. The statue is made of pure gold. Although it is only the size of a palm, it is definitely worth a lot of money. For a remote village like Q Village, it is certainly not a small expense. Bai Zhoxiu played with the golden statue for a moment, then put it back in its original place. Then, the three of them focused their attention on the portrait. The location depicted in the portrait should also be Q Village. However, it seems to be from a bygone era, probably decades or even 100 years ago. The drawing depicts a person holding a sickle, standing on the back of another person. There were 3 people tied up and kneeling on the ground. They were a middle-aged man, a woman, and a child. Behind the middle-aged man, wielding a sickle, stood a large, dark mass of people. They appeared to be villagers, their faces contorted with anger, raising their arms and shouting as if in agreement with something. No, what's going on here? Is this a rebellion? Liu Chengfang was confused by this painting. Bai Zhaoxiu moved closer to the painting, gently rubbing it with her slender fingertips, a hint of suspicion flashing in her beautiful eyes. Something's not right. Take a closer look at the background of this painting. Upon hearing this, the 2 also noticed that the background of the painting was somewhat too desolate. The sun blazes overhead, the vegetation withers, and the stream has dried up. This is a severe drought. Liu Chengfeng exclaimed in surprise. Ning Qiushui seemed to have thought of something and murmured. The blood of the kind-hearted flowed away and transformed into sweet rain. In that instant, Ning Qiushui felt a chill running down her spine. He had a vague feeling that something terrible might have happened in the village during that severe drought years ago. Just as Ning and Bai were carefully examining the portrait, Liu Chengfeng came to the side and checked the annotations on the portrait. It really is a severe drought. Hey, come and see. Liu Chengfeng seemed to have discovered something. His expression changed, and he called out to the 2 people next to the portrait. The 2 men immediately came over, and when they saw the direction Liu Chengfeng was pointing, they were both taken aback. There, a new name appeared. Guangshu, also surnamed Guang. Could it be related to Guangshuan? Ning Qiushui's eyes lit up slightly as she quickly glanced at the annotations on the picture. The annotation roughly means, about 120 years ago, Qiu village suffered a 3-year drought, and the streams dried up. Not only did the crops fail, but even the flowers, grasses, and trees on the mountain withered and died. Back then, the entire village relied on an ancient well dug by their ancestors for its water supply. But after the drought came famine. As more and more people in the village starved to death, some villagers went to the home of Guangshu, the only wealthy man in the village at the time, hoping to borrow some surplus grain from him. But those people never came back after they left. The other villagers noticed something was wrong, so they quietly went to Guangshu's house and peered over the wall. They discovered that Guangshu had killed the villagers who had come to borrow grain from them, chopped them up, and fed them to the dogs. After this incident was exposed, the entire village was outraged. Led by a middle-aged man named Ruin Kaihuang, the villagers stormed into Guangshu's house, hacked him to pieces on the spot, and imprisoned his wife and children in Yanyu Temple. The Misty Rain Temple was built by Guangshu, using the wealth of the entire village to pray for rains. Every year, the villagers would offer tributes to the land and pray for favorable weather and abundant harvests. In reality, however, the temple was merely a means for Guangshu to amass wealth. Strangely enough, it rained on the very night that Guangshu was hacked to pieces. The Misty Rain Temple was struck by lightning and caught fire. Some people saw that the fire, instead of being extinguished by the heavy rain, burned even more fiercely. and Gangshu's wife and children were burned to death in the Misty Rain Temple. The villagers all said that this was divine intervention, and the wicked were punished by heaven. Finally, under the leadership of Nguyen Khai Hong, the villagers gradually returned to a peaceful life. To commemorate Ruin Kai Wang's contributions to Q village, later generations cast a miniature statue of him in gold and built a shrine for him. That concludes the annotation. It seems that the man holding the sickle in that painting is Nguyen Khai Hong, and the one tied up on the ground is Kwong Thursday and his wife and children. If that's the case, Ning Qiushui immediately took out the memorial tablet in her hand, looked at the two characters Guang Chuan on it, and said with slight excitement, "Could Guang Chuan be the son of Guang Shu, who was burned to death?" Bai Xiaoxua nodded in agreement. "That's highly likely." As she spoke, she seemed to have discovered something, letting out a soft ache. She walked over to the annotation, looked it over, then took out a small flashlight and shone it on it. Her voice suddenly became much more serious. "There's something behind this annotation." Upon hearing this, Ning and Liu immediately came forward. "What is that?" The light in Bai Xiaoxu's eyes flickered uncertainly. "I don't know, but there's a large space in the wall behind the annotation. You move aside first." The two knew what she was about to do, and Liu Chengfeng glared at her and stopped her. "Sister Bai, don't do anything reckless. Didn't the old man who was sweeping say that we shouldn't touch the things here?" Bai Gyaltseil calmly said, "Don't worry, I know what I'm doing." Seeing that she was determined, the two of them took a few steps back. Bai Gyaltseil was not polite at all. She took out a few coins from her pocket, picked out a coin, and fiddled with it on the annotation box for a while. The screw on it was then unscrewed. "Holy crap, you can tighten screws like that." Liu Chengfeng was completely dumbfounded as the screws on the annotation box were unscrewed. Bai Xiaoxiu carefully removed the annotation, and sure enough, there was a large inward groove in the wall behind it. The terrifying sight inside the recess left all three of them frozen in place. Inside that small recess, two extremely distorted corpses were squeezed together. The recess is approximately a cube measuring 505,050 centimeters. It's hard to imagine how such a recess could accommodate the corpses of two adults. The two corpses had expressions of utter terror, as if they had witnessed something horrific before their deaths. Their bodies were intertwined, their two pale faces staring at the outside of the recess, one above the other. "It's them." Ning Qiushui let out a silent cry. The two looked at him. "Hey, buddy, do you know them?" Ning Qiushui nodded and replied, "Do you remember what the old man sweeping the floor said earlier? He said that two tourists came to this place around 8 or 9 p.m. last night. Yesterday, when we gathered in the open space after entering the Blood Gate. I didn't see everyone's faces clearly, but I could roughly remember their clothes. These two people are from outside the Blood Gate, just like us. This morning I was wondering. There was only one corpse in the open space outside, so why are 3 of us missing? It seems the other 2 missing people are here." As Ning Qiushui finished speaking, Liu Chengfeng swallowed hard. What do you think turned them into what they are now? Both of them fell silent. Theoretically speaking, it is impossible for a human to do this. It's impossible to squeeze two corpses, like dough balls, into such a small space without drawing blood. So, what exactly is it? Just as the three were silent, a voice that sent chills down their spines suddenly came from behind them. Didn't I already tell you not to touch anything in the ancestral hall? Why won't you listen? As soon as that terrifying sound appeared, the three of them felt as if their souls had been frozen. They slowly turned their heads and saw that the old man, who was clearly dead, had reappeared in front of them. This time, however, the old man wasn't holding a broom, but a pair of sharp scissors. He approached the three of them step by step, his smile becoming increasingly twisted and eerie. The wrinkles seemed to swallow up all her facial features, and the cold aura emanating from her body grew stronger and stronger. All three. The old man in front of them was likely no longer human. Realizing the danger, they immediately tried to escape, but found that they couldn't move their feet no matter what they did. Those legs felt as if they were filled with lead, incredibly heavy. Is this the power of demons? Ning Qiushui felt a chill run through her heart. They were too weak. They had almost no ability to resist the ghosts. As the old man approached him step by step with scissors in hand, Bai Xiaoxiu calmly spoke from behind. Old man, we didn't mean to touch anything in the ancestral hall, but the things here, Guangchuan doesn't like them. It's what brought us here. Upon hearing the name Guangchuan, the old man's ferocious expression froze. Then immense fear appeared in his lifeless, dull eyes. He turned his gaze and stared intently at Bai Zuxiao. What are you saying? Bai Zuxiao's palms were sweating, but her expression remained unchanged as she continued. If you don't believe me, we can show you something. As soon as she finished speaking, Ning Qiushui also noticed the change in the old man's aura and immediately took out Guangchuan's memorial tablet from her body. Upon seeing the memorial tablet, the old man seemed to have seen something extremely terrifying. He suddenly screamed in panic, dropped the scissors in his hand, and turned to flee into the depths of the woods. Once he left, the three of them finally returned to normal. Cold sweat soaked their backs, and they were all panting. Liu Chengfeng looked at Bai Gaoxiao with some admiration and said, "Sister Bai, you really have a trick up your sleeve." They got rid of that old devil with just a few words. Bai Gaoxiao exhaled and said, "I just tried it out casually. If it doesn't work, I have other ideas." Now it seems that the events described in the annotations of this painting are not consistent with what happened back then. Otherwise, that old man wouldn't have been so afraid of the memorial tablet in Qiushui's hand. Even ghosts are afraid of this sign, which shows just how much resentment the owner of this sign must have felt after death. Ning Qiushui glanced at the plaque and felt a chill run down her spine. But she still put the plaque away and said, "Let's leave first. That old ghost might come back at any time, and there don't seem to be any other useful clues here." After all that back and forth, it was already noon. They returned to the rest area provided for. tourists in the village and went to the canteen to get their lunch. Just as they finished getting their food, a slender woman in jeans walked over and said to them, "The three of you, do you have a moment?" Ning Qiushui and Liu Chengfen did not respond. Bai Xiu smiled gently. "Yes. Is there anything I can help you with?" The slender woman in jeans reached out her hand. "My name is Tong Zhao. Would you like to come and join the meeting?" Most of the other Bloodgate participants are also present. Bai Zhao hesitated for a moment, then nodded. "No problem." She followed Temps Zhao to a relatively large room on the second floor, where 4 other Bloodgate participants were sitting. Ning Qiushui glanced at it, frowned, and said, "Why are there 3 fewer people again?" After he asked the question, the people present looked very uncomfortable. Judging from their expressions, those 3 people probably won't be coming back. What exactly happened? Would you mind telling me? Perhaps it was Bai Xiaoshu's beauty that had the effect. As she softly asked the question, one of them slowly spoke up. "It's nothing much. The 3 of them just went through the jungle to the temple behind the mountain to find a way to survive. We tried to dissuade them, but they insisted on going and promised to come down within an hour. Whether or not they found any clues in the temple. The mountain wasn't high, and it had very neatly constructed stairs, making it easy to go up and down in less than 10 minutes. However, we waited down there for almost 3 hours without seeing them. So we guessed that they might have encountered something on the mountain. Just as we were considering whether to go up the mountain to rescue them. At this point, fear was almost overflowing from the man's eyes, as if he had recalled some terrible scene. Suddenly, he covered his mouth and began to gag. His companion, though much more composed, was also deathly pale. Seeing their reaction, the others did not urge him on, but waited quietly. Once the man who was gagging finally calmed his stomach cramps, he said in a nearly hoarse voice, just as we were deciding whether to go up the mountain to rescue them or leave, something suddenly rolled down the mountain and almost hit us. Only when the thing came to a complete stop in the open space did we see what it was that had rolled down the mountain. Those are the 3 of their corpses. Upon hearing this, everyone in the room held their breath. Silence. The man who was retching had somewhat vacant eyes and muttered to himself, "It's exactly the same as the corpse outside the guest house this morning. Exactly the same. Their heads were ripped off alive. It's a ghost. It must be a ghost. There's a ghost in that temple on the mountain." Seeing that he was becoming somewhat neurotic, his companion patted his face hard and brought a bottle of cold water to his lips. After a few sips of cold water, the man's emotions stabilized again, and he stared at the table in front of him, without saying a word. After a long while, Temps Zhao finally sighed. "Everyone can see the current situation. I don't know what's going on with this Bloodgate. It should be the second Bloodgate, but the difficulty is ridiculously high. To be honest, I'm actually a veteran who has passed 5 Bloodgates. This time, I'm here to mentor a newbie, but this Bloodgate is just too difficult. Even more so than the 5th Bloodgate I passed back then. If we don't work together, we might all be wiped out this time." Upon hearing the words total annihilation, Everyone present except Ning Bai and Liu's expressions changed drastically. P.S. This time of night is perfect for reading horror novels. I love you all. Right. Good night. Cooperation is certainly no problem, but how would you like to cooperate? Bai Zhaoxiu crossed her long legs, gently rested her chin on one hand, and blinked her eyes at Tang Zhao. Tang Zhao didn't seem to like Bai Zhaoxiu's scrutiny and frowned slightly. Her intuition told her that this Bai Zhaoxiu was no newcomer. Those who are not newcomers are usually not easy to fool. Cooperation is also very simple. Our top priority now is to find a way out of this bloody door within 6 days, before we came in. I think everyone received the clues on the blood gate, but with just those clues, it's impossible to leave here alive. We need to gather more clues, and the clues lie at various tourist attractions in the village. At this point, Tempt Zhao glanced at the silent crowd, her tone firm and unquestionable. I suggest we split into groups of 2 or 3 and go to different sites. If all goes well, we should be able to gather all the clues in 1 or 2 days. This is currently the safest and fastest way to find a way out. The faster we find a way to survive, the fewer of us will die. As soon as she finished speaking, another girl in the room asked timidly, "Then, could there be ghosts at those tourist attractions?" Everyone looked over and saw that the girl was the one who had been pushed in front of Ning Qiushui this morning. Her name was Zong Fang. She's very timid. She stayed in her room all day and didn't leave the guest house except to eat. Tempt Zhao said calmly, "This is the world behind the blood gate, don't you think?" Upon hearing this, Zong Fang's face suddenly turned deathly pale. "Then, can I not go?" Her voice already trembled with a faint sob. But Tempt Zhao showed no pity whatsoever, coldly saying, "Sure. However, since you don't want to go, we don't have to share the survival clues we risked our lives to find with you." Upon hearing this, Zong Fang immediately panicked. "No, I'll go. Although she was a newcomer, after passing through the first blood gate, she understood what the survival route meant and what would happen without it. Inside the blood gate, everyone is doomed to die. Only by finding a way to survive can one hope to live." Seeing that no one objected, Tempt Zhao nodded in satisfaction. "Since everyone agrees, let's team up and go look for clues. It gets dark here around 7 p.m. But don't worry, as long as we get back to the guest house before midnight, the chances of encountering danger should be slim. Actually, by now, everyone who was supposed to team up has already done so, and the 2 or 3 people who weren't teamed up have automatically formed a group. We have 8 people left now, divided into 3 groups. We went to Frankentang before and got the clues for that scenic spot. So you don't need to go anymore. There are 4 attractions left. You guys discuss it. Each group will go to 1 attraction today. If we come back late, we'll have a meeting in the cafeteria tomorrow to exchange clues." As soon as Tang Zhao finished speaking, Bai Zhaogus lazily said, "We also went to a tourist attraction and obtained an important clue." "Oh, where did you go?" "Fu Temple." As soon as Bai Zhaoxiao finished speaking, a strange glint flashed in Tang Zhao's eyes. and she made a very unreasonable request. In that case, why don't you go to another important tourist attraction this afternoon to look for clues? Upon hearing this, Lu Chengfeng immediately became restless and glared at her, saying, "Why should I? Why aren't you going?" Temps Zhao crossed her arms and said coldly, "Why do you want to know?" "Fine, I'll tell you why. First, the clue I got is in Fankantang, which is the farthest place from the guest house. It takes almost 2 hours to get there and back, which means that the possibility of an accident is the greatest and the journey is the most dangerous. Secondly, we had also decided to visit the Fu temple this afternoon. I have already taken the lead in doing the most dangerous things, and now I'm going to help you check if I've missed anything. It's not too much to ask you to go to one more tourist attraction to look for clues, is it?" Lu Chengfeng wanted to retaliate, but Ning Qiushui stopped him. The latter gestured for him to be quiet. Bai Zhaoxiu smiled and said, "Not excessive, not excessive at all. Then let's settle on that." After discussing it for a while, Bai Zhaoxiu decided to go to the never-dry well in the afternoon. That well was the one that kept the entire village alive during the severe drought years ago. It is also the attraction furthest from the guest house, besides Fanchunta, which is less than half a kilometer away. After everyone had left, Liu Chengfeng said with dissatisfaction, "Why should I? That woman claimed it was a collaboration, but she acted all high and mighty towards everyone. It was infuriating." Bai Shaoxi, "Do you want to live or die?" Liu Chengfeng, "Of course I want to live." Bai Zhaoxiu, "Then stop talking nonsense and come with me." Liu Chengfeng stared wide-eyed. "No, I've noticed you two are either pushovers or something. It's one thing to be afraid of ghosts, but even people." Before he could finish speaking, Ning Qiushui interrupted him, saying, "That woman named Tang Zhao lied." Liu Chengfeng's aggressive tone faltered, and he froze. "Huh, you're lying. How did you tell, bro?" Ning Qiushui's gaze was sharp. "Make a note of the time. You'll understand once we get to the never-dry well." Liu Chengfeng stared at his watch and suddenly understood. "Brother, you mean? That woman named Tang Zhao never even went to Fankantang." Bai Zhaoxiu also spoke up. "Don't you even think about it. Where would she find the time? This journey takes almost 2 hours round trip, and that's assuming no unexpected situations arise. We spent the whole morning just getting to the Fu temple. Do you think Temps Zhao went to Fankan Pond in the dark last night? If not, then she doesn't have time. Because we saw her outside the guest house this morning when we went out for breakfast around 8 o'clock. Liu Chengfeng finally understood. This woman named Tang Zhao had deceived everyone and was using them as pawns. Holy crap, she's using us as pawns. Liu Chengfeng, with his fiery temper, immediately swore. I'm afraid it's not that simple. There are probably far more things she's been deceiving and hiding from us than just this one. This woman has a lot of problems. Bai Zhaoxiu's chilling words sent a shiver down the spines of the two people beside her. Liu Chengfeng swallowed hard. Sister, Bai, what else did you discover? Bai Zhaoxiu shook her head and smiled. If I told you that the 3 people who died at the Fu Shrine and those who went to the back mountain were very likely all instructed by her." Liu Chengfeng's pupils constricted, his eyes filled with immense shock. Damn it, that vicious woman. Why did she do that?